I'm taking you live to the court because it's judgment day for some 10 persons accused of plotting in 2021 to overthrow the government of President Akufo-Addo. Senior police officer ACP Benjamin Agbojo and 9 others have been on trial since their arrest 3 years ago. They will know if they will escape or be convicted on charges of treason and high treason. Let me take you live now to the court complex for details of the proceedings today. But before that, let's take a look at what has transpired so far. And then I'll bring in Richard Kojunya, who is in court for us this afternoon. So, as you may be aware, this is an allegation of a coup d'etat against these individuals. One of them has already passed on, Dr. Mark Palm. He is now deceased. He was actually one of the key individuals arrested in connection with this in 2021, but he is passed on. And then you have Warrant Officer Class 2, Esther San Dekuwin, Donya Kafu Elias Ezo, Kenel Sedu Abubakar, Bright Alan, Deborah Ofosu, also known as Bright Alan Yeboah, Lance Corporal Ali Solomon, Johannes Zeppi, and also Corporal Sylvester Akapewam. These are individuals including Miss ACP Agbojo. They are standing trial Colonel Samuel Kojo Gamali and ACP Dr. Benjamin Agbojo. These are individuals who are before the court today. The court is taking a decision on them as to convict them on charges of treason and high treason, or whether or not the court will say go home because you have no case to answer. These are the matters that are before the court today, and after almost 3 years, the court has now come to a decision on the matter, and judgment will be delivered soon. Let me take you live to the court now because Richard Kojunya, who is our legal correspondent, is joining us on the line right now. Richard, if you can hear me, we are told that there's heavy security there, but what is the latest on the matter before the court? Right, Richard, so I was asking, we understand there is heavy security at the court premise. What is the latest on the matter before the court right now? Right, so we're trying to establish contact with our correspondent court, legal correspondent, Richard Kojunya, who has been in court all morning covering this particular case for us, and we are told that there's heavy security at the court premises because judgment is just within minutes. Richard Kojunya, if you can hear me, what is the mood in court now, and what is the latest on the matter before the court?
Okay, so while Alton, we are at the Supreme Court's the court complex premises. As you can see, the atmosphere is very charged. You can see the police vehicles. I can count up to about 5 of them up there in the courtroom, and the case is being, the judgment is being delivered at the Financial and Economic Court 2 here in the court complex. The place is full, and so a lot of the people could not get access to get into the courtroom to listen to the judgment. The judgment delivery started from 12:30 and it's still ongoing. As I step down, the various parties had finished giving their addresses, and so it will be left with the judge to give his judgment in this matter. And you know that it's about people, ACP Agbojo and some others that allegedly plotted to overthrow this particular government, and so that is the judgment we are eagerly waiting for. But Alton, apart from this court, you know, today has been a very busy day as far as the legal space is concerned. You know about Dr. Papa Kwesi Indom. He was in court. In fact, he brought the Bank of Ghana and 2 others to court because he said that they had trampled on his fundamental human rights in revoking the licenses of GN Bank. And so the issues that were set down for the adjudication, they were 5, but 2 were substantively dealt with. The issue of capacity, whether or not GN Bank, Dr. Papa Kwesi Indom, had the requisite capacity to maintain the action before the Human Rights Court. The second was about jurisdiction, whether Dr. Papa Kwesi Indom and the GN Bank, they had adequately and properly invoked the jurisdiction of the Human Rights Court, and the court dealt with that matter, indicating that they had properly invoked the jurisdiction of the court and they have the requisite capacity considering the amount of interest they have in the entity that is at issue. But on the more substantive issue, the issue about discrimination and administrative right abuses. So let me start with administrative right abuses. He complained that Article 23 of the 1992 Constitution imposes a duty on administrative bodies such as the Bank of Ghana to be fair and reasonable in dealing with matters that come before them. But according to Dr. Indom and GM Bank, that was not what really transpired. What really transpired was that the Bank of Ghana was unfair, was biased, was unreasonable, was irrational in revoking the license. And on that basis, if the bank had taken into consideration the amount of money that government owned the GN Bank, it would not arrive at the conclusion to the point that it will revoke the license of Dr. Papa Kwesindom and the GN Bank. And the next one was about the issue of discrimination, and the court dealt with it, dismissing it in its entirety, indicating that the Bank of Ghana was going about its lawful mandate, administrative mandate, and the fact that they were to act as supervisors of the various banks, and in acting in the public interest and in the interest of shareholders, they decided that the GN Bank did not meet the threshold of the solvency issue, and so they were insolvent, and on that basis they decided that they will revoke the licenses. And on the issue of discrimination, the court indicated that they did not discriminate against Dr. Papa Kwesindom and the GN Bank because within that same space and during that time, other entities and other banks that were operating in the financial space, others also got their licenses and revoked. And so it is not only the GM Bank that suffered the same fate. And so based on all of these things, the court decided to dismiss in its entirety the application filed by Dr. Papa Kwesindom and the GN Bank. But in the last couple of minutes, Dr. Papa Kwesindom has been reacting to the judgment of the Human Rights Court, indicating that it is so absurd that the BOG that the government controls, government owes Dr. Papa Kwesindom. Why is it difficult for the government to pay Dr. Papa Kwesindom and the GN Bank so that they will be solvent, so that they will meet the capital adequacy ratio? And so that is the statement that has been put out there by Dr. Papa Kwesindom. In fact, it isn't clear that they are going on an appeal, but sources within Dr. Papa Kwesindom's camp reveal that they will actually appeal the decision of the Human Rights Court. Now, Alton, let's move on to the next case of Dr. Opuni, the former Cocobot CEO. In fact, he appeared before the Supreme Court, the Apex Court, invoking the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to prohibit the trial High Court judge, the High Court that is currently hearing the matter of Dr. Opuni. In fact, Dr. Opuni came to the Supreme Court indicating that the trial High Court judge has been biased by conduct, by some of the things that the High Court judge has done. So this was opposed by Evelyn Kelson, the Chief State Attorney. He indicated that what the Dr. Opuni has put before the Supreme Court, they are mere allegations, they are mere accusations that have not been substantiated, and there is no merit in what they have brought before the court. And based on that, the court should dismiss the application filed by Dr. Opuni. In fact, the court actually agreed with the states and went ahead to dismiss the application by Dr. Stephen Opuni. And so that is what we have been about in court today. In fact, we are waiting, and I know that very soon the judgment that is being delivered about the coup plotters will come to an end here at the court complex.
Thank you very much, and we'll come back to you when the judgment is out and the decision of the court is out, so that we can apprise us of the very latest. But as you heard him say, the judge started reading the judgment around midday and is still on it. There are 10 individuals, including ACP Benjamin Agbodo, who are standing trial for conducting themselves deemed treasonable by the Constitution. That's the reason why they are before the court today. And already he also brought to us the issue about the GN Bank, the court affirming the decision of the Bank of Ghana to revoke their license. And of course, the court now giving the all clear for the case involving the former CEO of Cocoa Board, Dr. Opuni, to go ahead, dismissing an earlier injunction that the lawyers for Dr. Opuni had sought the court to prohibit the trial judge from going ahead with the case. The decision of the Supreme Court is that the judge can sit and hear the case. So we will take you back to the court as and when the judgment is out regarding the 10 individuals who are standing trial for treason and treasonable offenses, including ACP Benjamin Agbojo. But let's do some politics now, because this weekend, it is the final home stretch for contestants in the NPP Congress to elect parliamentary candidates in 104 constituencies across the country. Now, these are potential safe seats for the party. Therefore, whoever is elected stands a good chance of joining the 9th Parliament in 2025. And this makes the stakes so high, with money and other influences high on the agenda. The promises range from plots of land to television set, money and other interests. So how prepared are the aspirants ahead of Saturday? We'll hear from some of them shortly. But right now, Nana Boakye Yadom put a spotlight on constituencies where incumbent MPs are expected to face off the opposition in 2024.
In the Ashanti region, Bantama, Ishiayaso, and Tafo Pankrono are some key constituencies where incumbent MPs are expected to face tough competition in the NPP Parliamentary Primaries. The Bantama constituency has witnessed intensive internal contests where incumbent MPs lose after their first term in Parliament. Incumbent Francis Asensubuachi, who has been in Parliament for one term, is however optimistic of victory.
The fiercest competition, I believe, was between myself and Honorable Kokofu. That was the fiercest as far as I'm concerned. This one for me is not it's a no match. When you go to the constituency, those who are voting, they see a big difference. Yes. Like a difference between a VIP bus and Pragia. Yeah. That is the difference. It's a no match. I don't see this as a competition at all, because it will take a nation record to choose my opponent over me, given the unprecedented levels of development I've brought in Bantama against an opponent who has no record of active service to the party and to the competition. It will never happen in Bantama.
Raphael Lijapon is the unwavering opponent of Francis Asensubuachi, eyeing to unseat him from Parliament.
He's an MP who can't even socialize with people. He's perceived to be arrogant, but now I agree with them, because he talk as if he's, the chief of the world, calling himself VIP, and then me Aboboya, and then I'm visionless. Hey, excuse me.
Confident of his victory, Raphael shared his vision for the constituency.
Whatever I'm saying is genuine. I will not come to you, talk to you, and then just for the sake of asking you for your vote. I have a genuine heart for Bantama constituency, and I've been doing this over time. That's why you made mention of the fact that I have gained popularity over a short period. No, I have been in this constituency, God knows when, the time I was born. And they know me, I interact with them. Anytime I'm out of Accra and I'm in Kumasi, I'm with Bantama people. They know what I've done for people who are seeking to get school fees to pay their tuition, medical fees, medical money for medicine and all that. A lot of them. Within the party, we've done series of legal works for the party. So the records are there for everybody to interact.
Political scientist Dr. Amache Boateng says the Bantama constituency has become a hotspot for years. He believes the incumbent MP can possibly retain her seat.
It's not necessarily a case of a support for a one-term member of parliament in Bantama. No. But the place has become like Congo DR, a battleground because of the size of the constituency. Asensubuachi has definitely done what he has to do. One would have expected that maybe Ochaman Boaji might have come back, if you were to be with us, and possibly offer him a challenge. That would have been something of a challenge.
At the Tafo Pankrono constituency, incumbent MP Vincent Ekowasifua will battle it out with Sewa Donko after the two locked horns in the 2020
The shoes that I met was a very big shoe. That is the shoe of Dr. Anthony Akoto said. The question, or the big question always was that, how are we going to get someone to be able to fill in that shoes? And I have no doubt in my mind that within 3 years, I have been able to achieve a lot for the people of Old Tafo constituency today.
But Sewa Donko believes she's the best for the job.
Tafo Pankrono Development Fund Foundation yede ekwako peska edim punto abakroimu yesuku sem yen hospital ya yaresem se impunto ebekoso wa ha eno na ye hye na ya babeka.
After a failed court injunction, the Inshiaeso constituency will be part of Saturday's primaries. Incumbent MP Dr. Stephen Amwa will face a former MP and DCE for Asokore Bampong, Kennedy Kankam. Dr. Amwa is confident of winning because he claims his opponent contributed less to the party's progress after losing the primary in 2020.
For the past 3 years, nobody has supported NPP in Inshiaeso, to the best of my knowledge. Any local activity I pay for. No one. When I lost election, I supported them. I supported my predecessor. Campaign, everything. I was paying money, funerals, even the constituency's activity I paid for. But 3 years, nobody, in fact, my predecessor lives in the same area with me. Dabino side. He was very fortunate to have gotten MCE's position, which is just here, Swansea and Share. So they are the same. Just recently, we just divided them. Not even a funeral activity, he supported them. I've been paying everything the constituents they know.
Meanwhile, Kennedy Kankam has begun his intensive campaign dubbed Sankofa. Dr. Amache Boateng cautioned delegates against voting for candidates who may not help transform their constituencies.
In democracies, the core issue that democracies simply bring about, selecting the right caliber of people to represent the citizens in parliament in various positions of responsibility. If in doing that, you take money and on the basis of that, vote for somebody, on the basis of that, select somebody. That is it.
For Joe News, Nana Boachita Kwayadom, Kumasi.
So the action is this weekend, and trust your election headquarters, Joy 99.7 FM Joy News, and of course my joyonline.com and all our affiliates to bring you up to the minutes, whatever draws we'll have it for you on your radio, on your TV, online, and of course everywhere you find yourself listening or watching us. So how are the candidates funding their campaigns? A very key question that we need to ask. And how are they, resourcing themselves ahead of Saturday as delegates put them under pressure to offer cash and other inducement before they vote for them? Let's connect with some of them and discuss their preparation plans and how they are managing the finances, which is key. My guest will be speaking to Katie Hammond, who is an incumbent member of parliament for Adanse Asokore in the Ashanti region. We'll also be speaking to Habib Idris, a member of parliament for Tolom, and then we'll also hear from anti-corruption crusader Vitus Azim. Dr. Amache Boateng is a senior lecturer at the Political Science Department, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Also, Nana Akumin Jr. from Tia Kwasad constituency, hoping that the delegates will smile so that he will represent them in Parliament in 2025. So let's go on the phone, on Zoom, and bring them in. Do we have Mr. Katie Hammond there? Right, so Honorable Habib Idris, you're welcome to the pulse here on Joy News.
Thank you.
I guess it must have been a very difficult road. Saturday is just around the corner. How prepared are you to seal it?
In my case, I am lucky. I've
Going
done my
unopposed.
unopposed, and then I've done my acclamation already. I did that on Sunday. So I will not be part of the Saturday's one because I went unopposed and my acclamation was done on Sunday.
But I mean, this obviously, you've been on this road before. I mean, speak to us. How difficult it is to now become a member of parliament?
Yes, it's not an easy task, especially considering, the time, because we have about less than 72 hours now to the election. I remember the time I was contesting the sitting MP. All this time I was putting my strategy in place. I was counting my numbers, counting those that I think that they will vote for me and those that I think that they will not vote for me, and those that are in the middle. Normally people call them yellow in a research, whether they can swing to the other part of the aisle, whether they vote for you or vote against you. And, the numbers will keep changing. Those that you think are red might even turn into green from today to Saturday. Those that you think are green might also fall into yellow. So you always have to make sure that you are very consistent. You make sure that you are always in touch with the people. You make sure that, you don't leave any stone unturned, because parliamentary election is just a day one. And that day, if you make a mistake, that's it. You are out. If you are a sitting member of our parliament, it means that your chances of returning is off. If you are just also coming in, it is about your political survival. So at this juncture, normally, I remember our own happened in 2020. It was June, just 5 months to the election. 20th June, I think we did our own last election. It wasn't easy. It was a very difficult one. And everybody will come out. There will be a lot of theories against you, theories why you can't win. There will be a lot of theories why you have to win or you are the best candidate. You just need to stay focused, sell your message, get in touch with the delegates, those who normally who will be voting, and make sure that on that day, that in this case that will be Saturday, you make sure that you police for them to cast their vote for you.
The financial implication of this, and it's something that you cannot take it off the equation. More importantly, when you are facing off with other people, and the thing is that the fear of the unknown, so you prepare ahead of it. Now, we've been speaking to some of them. An aspirant told my colleague Evans Mensah last night that he's run out of cash, yet he's going into a contest on Saturday. The financing of this campaign, and then to get delegates to vote for you, it is your cocoa season. How do you deal with the financial imperative, the challenge that has become the driving force within which one can ascend the throne, of parliament?
I think this one is a very difficult one, especially when it comes to money and financing involving in parliamentary primaries or parliamentary election. Yes, it is very financially demanding, and especially how things are now unfolding in Ghana, which is a bit worrying, that many people think that you have to pay your way throughout. But I strongly believe that even if you have the money, it is not just the case that you just have to come and pay or buy things just like you have entered into a shop to buy things. You need to build a relationship. You need to be able to sell your message out. And at the end of the day, then you try to be able to motivate them. And that motivation, it differs. Yes, there's no denying the fact that of recent times there have been a lot of money influencing certain part of our election. But it is generally not about money. Many a time money play a role. Some people have had money, they spend money more than their opponents, but at the end of the day, their opponents will win because it's a relationship. It is how you comport yourself. It is how you build your relationship with the people. You build relationship with overtime. You build relationship to the fact that and to that day that the people will now be able to endorse you. But if they strongly also believe that the delegates, even with your money, if they vote for you, you can still not deliver the seat. they will definitely not vote for you. But definitely, Saturday is a day that we are going to watch keenly. But I do know a New Patriotic Party, NPP, as we know as, will be able to come out to make the whole thing very peacefully. Yes, people will say they have run out of cash, because even to fuel your vehicles to move to various places of your constituency, it is not an easy thing. Because if you look at, for example, you come to a constituency like my constituency that you need to be able to go around. You need to fuel. You need to get motorbikes for people to be able to help you. You need to get phone units to even get them. And even on that day, you need to cook for the people. You know,
and
as a
provide
form
them
of,
TNT as well.
showing. Sorry?
And then provide them TNT as well. And sometimes something to really
I'm
motivate them to
talking
go
about
out
the
and vote
cooking
for
part.
you.
I'm talking about the fact that you need to transport them there, because some of them live very far away, and candidates will be tempted, even though the party will provide that, but they will want to also move their their delegates to the center, so that it will show that, oh, it was candidate A or candidate B that transported us to the venue. They believe that it is another way of influencing the vote. You definitely need to cook for them. You need to give them water, and definitely the TNT. That's what I said. Transporting them there. It could be that you are giving them the money to get their own car to come, or otherwise you are providing them a car to come, and the food too can be otherwise. You're giving them money to buy the food or otherwise. But it is definitely financial demanding, considering the process that you have to go through. And even if you look at the time that you are going to file, when you are contesting sitting MPs, in this case MPP, if you are about 40 years, you have to pay nothing less than 73,000 Ghana cedi, because the form was somewhere 3,000 Ghana cedi. You pay 30,000. If you are not the sitting MP, you pay 30,000 for the filing fee, and you pay another 40,000 Ghana cedi for development fee.
All right.
In the case of sitting MPs, they don't pay. That is already a lot of money. 73,000 Ghana cedi is already a lot of money. And after that, you need to go and get the form filled. You go in, people do banners, posters, T-shirts, and going through the whole campaign process of buying fuel to go around and other.
It's a difficult exercise, I must
intensive.
admit. And before I let you go, so that I can also bring in Nana Akomia Jr. Fantiakwa South constituency, he is contesting, and of course, Dr. Amachi Boateng, political scientist with the KNUST. Habib, you are in leadership in Parliament, and here's the case that you are going into the 2024 election, and with the hope to, lead the majority in Parliament, and yet you have almost 20 of very experienced members of Parliament who are not coming back in the 9th Parliament. To what effect, or to what extent, would that have an effect on the MPP role in terms of its numbers and maturity and experience? To what effect would that have some impacts on the governance and prosecuting government business on the floor?
I think by far it is going to hurt Parliament in a way, because you have fine brains, high quality personnel who have opted out. I think in our side it is about 18 people. We have a majority leader who is one of the longest serving members of Parliament now. That is Osei Mensah-Bonsu, who will not be coming back again. We have Joe Gate, who MP for Asikado, who has been a deputy speaker, a very outstanding, good lawyer by all standards, and a lot of other people who might not be coming back. But I am very positive that at the end of the day, definitely we'll be losing people with institutional memory. But the caliber of people also opting to represent or replace them in their various constituencies will also be people with more substance. Because if you look at this Parliament, you'll be able to see that those who came first-time MPs, definitely this Parliament have been a very difficult one. The Parliament have been a Parliament of many records, rejecting budget, rejecting ministers, voting on budget, voting on other key revenue bills in this. And we were able to pass it through. Definitely we will miss a lot of people with institutional memory. And the NDC, when they were also going for their primaries, they also have fine gentlemen who also have institutional memory that they didn't contest anymore. We have people like Aveji, who have been, finance committee chair. He was a deputy minority leader, and now he's now the chair of the public accounts committee, who is not coming back. So obviously, this is going to hurt the institution parliament. But I am very positive that the younger generation who are also coming, they are, of quality, and they will be able to learn and pick up very well. Even myself, for the first time, as a first-time MP, I was made a deputy whip. People doubted, people think it was going to be. But when you are able to learn and you are determined and you are able to talk to the seniors who are there, you will be able to catch up and be able to contribute your quota to the development of the institution parliament.
All right, thank you very much. Habib is the Member of Parliament for Tolom, a deputy whip on the majority side in Parliament. So those who are on the ground and those who have put themselves up for election, we have a few days to go. Is the blood pressure up already? Nana Akomia Jr. Is joining us from Fantiakwa South constituency. Nana, you're welcome to the pause here on Joy News. All right, let me go also via Zoom and speak to Dr. Kwesi Amache Boateng. He is at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Political Science Department. He's also a political analyst, a very experienced one. Dr. Amache, you're welcome to the pause here on Joy News.
Thank you.
And it's actually good to see you. It's been a while since we spoke.
It's a pleasure.
Right. So Saturday, is it going to be a case of who will be able to pay more, or they are going to look at who is more competent and who is more suitable for the job?
Let me say thank you once again, and also to say good evening to your viewers. Actually, I mean, it's going to be a mixture of all these issues you've outlined. I think our brother Habib, addressed the issue quite well. He emphasized the need for, the social and human dimensions not to be taken for granted. So I think the bottom line is that money alone per se will not necessarily, take one out there. Your human relationship is going also to come to play. But then that said and done, at the end of the day, the weight in the in your envelope is definitely, also something that you can't take for granted. You must be ready to dip your hands deep into your pocket, to get things going. But then, like, he said, we can't dispense with the social and human aspects of these issues.
Right. Dr. Amache, just give me 1 second. Let me cross over to Nana Akomia, who is reaching us from Fantiakwa. Nana Akomia, you're welcome to the pause.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
And how is the campaign going? I just want to believe that your BP is at a level where it's supposed to be.
your guess is as good as mine. Honestly, it's been a bit stressful because we've taken it for almost about 2 months consistently on the ground. And as I speak to you, we are doing our last minute touches across the various electoral areas. And so I can say that, yes, you are right. The BP, it keeps beeping up, it keeps going up, but we are so hopeful that at the end of the day, the delegates will find favor with us and they will give us a nod to lead the people of Fantiakwa South.
What makes you think that you will be the obvious choice? Is it your message, or is it the fact that you'll be able to meet their demands?
Okay, so it's a couple of things. I have been a constituency executive for the past 4 years. Before then, I was a polling station executive. I have lived in the constituency. I have my own residence. I have a business there in the constituency. I have served the constituency in various capacities, and I'm sure that looking at the length of sacrifice that I've made into this constituency, the people, are looking up to me to take up the nod. Beyond that, I also have a very compelling message, which I've tried to bring it down to the people. And I must be frank with you, amongst all the aspirants that I'm running this race with, I am the only candidate with a clear-cut message, and I'm very hopeful that my message has gone down with them. It will resonate with them, and on Saturday, the people will give me the mandate to lead them.
Do you have access to the delegates as we speak? Because during this time, all manner of issues going around, including the campaign, are sometimes people that you are competing with.
At this point, I have full access to delegates. I don't know what lies ahead of us in the coming days. But judging from previous elections that I've observed in the constituency, there hasn't been anything as such. So I want to assume that there's not going to be anything of the sort. But if it happens, we would have a strategy to still get to the delegates and make sure that at least they'll hear us out and they'll give us the nod.
All right, Nana, give me a second. I come back. Let me bring in the Minister for Trade and Industry, Member of Parliament for Adansi Asokwa, a long-serving Member of Parliament, very experienced. He served on various committees in Parliament. Whilst I was a parliamentary correspondent, I had a lot of interaction with him. Katie Hammond joins me on the line. Mr. Hammond, welcome to the pulse here on Joy News. And how is the campaign going?
Well, I just started. Literally, I was at a meeting with some of my delegates when this call came through. I had to excuse myself.
In past days, you try to, get a party to look into the suitability of one of the contestants, aspirants ahead of Saturday. Are you still convinced that he's unfit?
I think you have been polite. You meant I wanted them disqualified.
Exactly.
I think I've been diplomatic and also polite. Yes. Of course, yes. There are rules and regulations that govern these procedures in our party. I wasn't comfortable that all the three who have appeared to contest me were properly qualified to contest. I made a point. At the end of the day, I'm not the arbiter. So that matter is settled. All of them are contesting me. We will resolve these matters ultimately within the structures of the party.
If I'm not mistaken, in the last election that brought you into the 8th Parliament, you won the primaries by 58 votes.
I don't remember the votes. Somebody contested me the last time. I beat him. That's what I recall.
So the confidence is still high that you represent the constituency, come what may.
Who is confident?
I'm asking you, Mr. Hammond.
My confidence?
Yes.
I'm never confident about this matters. I do this matters a matter of course. No question of confidence. I'm not confident. I am not downtrodden. I'm not. I'm indifferent. I mean, I'm going to this election. I'm talking to my delegates. I expect them to show their confidence in me to let me represent them. Ultimately, the delegates are the arbiters. Question of my confidence is neither here nor there.
And out of this, we've come so far in our parliamentary democracy, but there's the issue of financial inducement at this stage. How do we deal with it?
It hasn't cropped up in my constituency. The last time I contested them, they were quite happy to vote for me because for the years that I've been around, they know the development in their various communities. They look at their communities, and since the respective delegates are the representatives of their various communities, they look at what's happened and they reflect their votes accordingly.
And you are not concerned maybe your opponents may be paying money to get them to vote for them?
My who?
As you are not concerned that, for example, your opponents may be inducing them with money for them to vote for them?
They are not brought up like that. They don't have that culture. They don't have that attitude. I think they will be repulsed. They would be extremely unhappy if anybody attempted to deceive them, to bribe them with some money. That's not how they vote in this constituency.
So what are you also giving them in exchange for their votes?
Say it again?
What are you also giving them in exchange for their votes?
What am I also giving them?
In exchange for their votes.
You tend to concentrate on your questions. You hardly listen to the answers. If you did, you would have realized that I answered that question.
I asked because it could be your message. It could be something else. That's why I asked the question.
No, I answered that question. I don't intend, my friend. If you aren't going to ask questions and going to repeat yourself, good afternoon. I don't have all the time for you, you know.
Well, Mr. Hammond, wish you the very best ahead of Saturday. Right, so Dr. Matthew Watson, if you are still with me, so these are things that we can't wish away. It has come to be institutionalized, the monetization of our electoral process. And again, people have spoken about it and the need for us to move away from it so that we can elect people who are worthy of the call. I mean, you've done this, you've done research, you have presented papers on this. What is the best possible way out of this?
Just like you said, it is really a challenge. Generally, democracies do suffer from the influence of money. In some jurisdictions, it manifests in different forms, where this group of people I choose to call political entrepreneurs. They try to get a stake in the state's economy, and so they support political parties in their campaigns. And there are instances where they try to get key leaders, key individuals in major parties to also, in a way, become, if you like, an affiliate of them by sponsoring them. But then the Ghanaian one is an interesting thing. It's gone down to the grassroots, the electorates, where the election takes place. They elect everybody to go into government to manage the affairs of the state. It is a challenge. It is a challenge. How do we address that? I think we need something structural, because we can't talk. It won't work simply by talking about it. It won't work. We need something structural, something that will make it very difficult for an individual who relies solely on money to be able to go through. And one thing that comes to mind is, I think, to expand, the base, the people that vote. So I think the delegate system will have to be scrapped if indeed the political parties mean business. And then they will have to get a better way of simply capturing their members and getting them to also demonstrate that they are core members of the party, and let every member vote. So if you expand that base, then I think that will make it very difficult for individuals who have not engaged the constituencies properly to be able to rely on money alone to get through. I think that is what we want to put in place, something like that.
All right. Final question to you, Nana Akomia, so that I can let you go, because you are involved in your campaign for this Saturday. Is everything smooth for you? Is everything going according to plan? All right, so we don't have him yet. Let me go back to Dr. Amakye. Dr. Amakye, the NPP is going into this weekend election with some 20 very experienced members of parliament who say that they are no longer coming back. They will no longer be coming back. This included the majority leader, Osei Mensah-Bonsu, the second deputy speaker, and yesterday we heard Obi Amwa, who is currently the party's director of research. And they are not coming back. Will that have effects on how the party positions itself for the 2024 election? On the other side, will this galvanize the base of the party so that there will be some enthusiasm to encourage their members to come out and vote? How do you look at the two issues?
On the issue of voting, I like to believe that over the years, research has demonstrated that the economy plays a foremost role. The economy is really huge in getting people to go to vote for our political leaders. So I expect that to be the number one factor. Other factors might come in. With several of those gurus going out, it could play out, in either ways. In some constituencies, some people might be disappointed to see that these people, especially if those people have been endearing themselves to them, serving the needs of the constituency in a remarkable fashion, those people are exiting. There are those who might become disappointed and, may even decide to stay away. But then you could also have a situation where, the new individuals who have shown up have all been seen as hardworking people who are really, individuals who have demonstrated commitment to the needs of the constituents, then definitely people will be very energetic. They look, let's go out and vote for this man and get him, into parliament. So I think it would play out, differently on the basis of the situation on the ground.
There is this fear that the 2024 election may run into a runoff. Therefore, focus more should be on the parliamentary, because then the outcome of the parliamentary election may help push a candidate to, form the next government in the event there's a runoff. So how crucial is it for the kind of the caliber of people that they parade, especially for both parties?
Well, you want to believe that, these individuals that the parties present did not just come up. They've been with the parties for a while, so you expect that they have gone through some sort of training, formal or informal, some sort of learning, might have taken place. And so with the parliament issue, obviously the experience, comes with time. So once we're going to have so many new individuals coming up in the case of the NPP, obviously they will struggle in parliament initially. And then with time they will learn. But then the issue of a runoff is something that I don't anticipate. I don't anticipate that we're going to.
Why do you say so? Why do you say so?
Well, if indeed Mr. Alan Chamartin goes all the way to contest in the elections, he's going to take a large chunk of the NPP's votes away. Fortunately or unfortunately, his base is in Ashanti region. I've always said that the party's sort of image in Ashanti region is dented. It is not the same NPP in Ashanti region that we have known all the time. The party has been trying hard for some time now to do some sort of damage control. People are not satisfied with what some people call the region's share of the national cake. People are not satisfied that the party has not delivered to expectation.
Has the wound to me, Manshia Empires to come to muddy the waters even more?
It has the potential to muddy the waters. It can be managed. If indeed they want to, manage it, it can be managed. The party should take that thing seriously. But then it has the potential to muddy the waters, The wound to me factor obviously is going to play negative here in the region. And people are really zeroing in and saying a lot of things. He came to, chair the party in the region for his own good. And many people know this. Many people have been talking about that. Some people even believe that he is to blame, for the incidents of galamsey in many parts of Ashanti region and the associated damages that the environment has received. If all these things are playing out now, the party would need to really come out and put in place some damage control measures.
Right. Mr. Amache, I would like you to hold on there, because we've also been following this breaking news at the court, where the court is taking a decision on 10 individuals who are standing trial for treason and treasonable offenses. We can go live to the court now, where the Attorney General is speaking.
High Court, and that's in accordance with Article 19 of the Constitution. And it's a trial that was basically conducted by the prosecution. The trial, if you remember, started actually on a Saturday. Saturday on 4th April 2021, Saturday. Because it's yours in location, the Chief Justice was able to put together that report on that day that you in the trial. So we must commend the High Court for painstakingly conducting this trial, and actually, as I said, the meticulous examination of the evidence, judgment that lasted over 3 hours, and one that I think they find its way into the records of law as far as journalists are concerned. And again, I would reiterate that initially people saw that the whole thing was child's play. They were actually trying to block the attempt. But you saw the evidence that was laid at the trial. Focus evidence showing systematic attempts by people to organize the overthrow of the government of Ghana. It started from not only meetings, but of course, concerted efforts to put together arms and ammunition. They actually prepared arms and ammunition to that effect. For the trial, that put on trial about 10 persons, 5 of them being military officers, and now being involved, other military officers of various ranks, as well as a police officer, as well as one civilian who is part of the Ghana Armed Forces, Ghana civilian employee in the Ghana Armed Forces. The effort was quite systematic, it was very deliberate. The prosecution was able to establish clearly all the certain efforts of various persons. 6 of them were convicted. And I believe, of course, the first accused was those who have been convicted of Dr. McPam, because it was actually the grand architect of the whole scheme. But for his untimely demise, clearly, I'm sure he would also have been convicted. And therefore, 7 of them would have been convicted. But today, we had 6 out of the 9 people convicted. And for me, it sends a strong signal to the nation that any attempt at all to destabilize the nation, any attempt to organize the overthrow of the constitution will not be countenanced and will be taken quite seriously. You saw how the persons involved in the scheme recruited various military officers and devised with them a means of ensuring that the president will be killed and that various other persons will also be killed, and even mapped out a clear strategy for doing that. And fortunately for the Republic, some of the military officers came out and reported to their superiors, and their superiors deliberately asked them to continue with the plan or with a view to unraveling the full scheme that they had put together. And we must thank God, and we must also pay compliments to the defense intelligence of the Ghana Armed Forces, because they actually monitored the people over a period of about 2 years and systematically gathered all the evidence, video recordings, audio recordings, and what have you. So, apart from commending the court for the relatively expeditious manner in which the trial has been conducted, we must also pay compliment to the Ghana Armed Forces and military command, especially the defense intelligence, who picked up the right signals and cleverly monitored them and indeed gathered the evidence. Otherwise, I'm sure Ghana perhaps would have been in disarray by now.
Aside the person of Dr. McPam, the ACP Benjamin Agojo and Colonel Gameli were the names that hit the media when this trial began. Now, these 2 people have been acquitted. I mean, what do you make of the acquittal?
I think that first and foremost, it pays, we must acknowledge the integrity of the judicial process of Ghana. It shows that the judicial process in Ghana actually works. Indeed, if you look at the judges and their examination of the evidence, it was such a meticulous study of all the evidence that has been put together by the prosecution. And I think that what we must be concerned about is that 6 citizens of the country actually have been convicted for this offense. But especially in relation to ACP Benjamin Agoso, we saw the evidence that was led by the prosecution, how it showed himself supporting the occurrence of an Arab Spring in Ghana. And I do not understand for my life how a police officer trained properly to defend people will actually advocate for an Arab Spring in the country and would also do certain things that would suggest that he himself was actually in support of the occurrence of an Arab Spring. But of course, clearly, the defects with the prosecution case in relation to ACP Agoso was quite evident. I mean, because he was not on the specific platform by which the accused persons were planning the overthrow of the government. But of course, the evidence that was laid relating to how he intended to disrupt the smooth running of the government by advocating an Arab Spring and all that was quite clear. It's the judgment. And I will entreat all citizens of the country to read the judgment carefully before making any unfounded comments at all. And Colonel Gamele, to the difficulty or the challenge that we had was a failure on the part of the prosecution witness to identify him in the video. And that really was quite fundamental. But in terms of acts that really were dishonorable, acts were deplorable from the perspective of a police officer or a military officer, you can see that was the service of the trial. Yes. Apart from that, 5 soldiers were actually convicted of the offense of treason. And for me, that is what is matter. So it's very important that even these 5 officers of the Ghana Armed Forces, there had not been any clear evidence of their participation in such an activity, and monitoring of the activities in that regard. God knows what would have happened to this country.
Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you.
So the breaking news this hour is that ACP Benjamin Agbojo and 2 others acquitted and discharged by the court. 6 others convicted. The judge, you heard the Attorney General Minister for Justice, Godfrey Adamim, updating the media after the court ruling on this matter. They were standing trial for treason and treasonable offences, but the court came to the conclusion that ACP Benjamin Agbojo and 2 others had no case to answer, and for that reason they were acquitted and discharged by the court. 6 other individuals have been, convicted. We'll wait to hear more when we are joined by our legal affairs correspondent, Richard Kojena, who is already in court engaging the parties on their reaction to the latest from the court. We shall be right back. Right, so Richard, if you can hear me, we heard the Attorney General update the media on the outcome of the court case that was brought against ACP Benjamin Agbojo and 10 others. The court, according to the information we have picked, acquitted and discharged ACP Agbojo and 2 others, but 6 other individuals, they've been convicted. Tell us more.
The lawyers for the accused and those that have been acquitted, Martin Pebu is currently.
Richard, I'd like you to hold on there because we can listen to legal practitioner Martin Pebu.
It's active, the TAG group as an NGO to get active, and there was going to be a demonstration. Then he said, look, pass through the legal means, because he said, look, conditions are ripe in Ghana for another spring. And you see, since the time he spoke, it's gotten worse. That was before COVID hit, and you are aware that when COVID hit, about 850,000 more of our fellow Ghanaians were pushed down into below the poverty line. So now more people are hungry, more people are out of jobs. You see, unemployment is gone through the roof. So these are the things he's talking about. Lack of food, unemployment, etc., the suffering of the masses. That's all that he said. So he said, look, if you are going to demonstrate on such matters, pass through the legal channels. That's all that he said. And yet the state wove a very frivolous case, frivolous to the highest degree, around his neck. And today you see the court has exonerated him. We'll sue the state for compensation, because this case has always been frivolous against him from day one.
That means that you are considering a malicious prosecution?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll look at malicious prosecution and all the other courses of action, because this case against Dr. Agbojo has always been frivolous to the highest degree from day one. And the Attorney General knows it.
We just spoke with the Attorney General. He's indicating that even though the court agrees that they were not able to prove the charge beyond reasonable doubt, they were at least able to prove that ACP Benjamin Agbojo supported a demonstration that will result in Arab Spring, which he thinks is disappointing for a police officer of the caliber of ACP Benjamin Agbojo.
It doesn't lie in the mouth of the Attorney General to say that. It doesn't lie in his mouth. When he was in opposition as part of AFAG, he wanted to go on a demonstration. President Mills had to step in. The police stopped them. President Mills had to step in to say he has a right to demonstrate. So why won't there's a police officer? He didn't say he was going to demonstrate himself. He was just teaching, or let's say giving advice to intended demonstrators on following the law, following due process that they should apply to inform the police. You know, under the Public Order Act, you have to inform the police 5 days ahead, etc. All those things, right? Yes, so that was all that Agbojo sought to do. Yes, that was all that he sought to do.
I mean, yeah. For you, Councillor Dawudu, 3 of your clients are facing a death sentence by hanging. Have you been able to have conversations with them so far? How are they feeling?
Oh yes, I think I've spoken to them. I think one of my clients has been acquitted and discharged. I believe that the evidence we have put before this court, they hadn't critically looked at some of the cross-examination and evidence, some of the loopholes. And I think that it's a process. We would definitely be going to the Supreme Court for it to also look at the evidence. We believe that some of the charges, you saw the soldiers, it was conspiracy, but they've been acquitted on the substantive charge. So these are things that we will test. We will go to the Supreme Court and see. But I believe that looking at what we have put before this court, we have done it, and we will go to the Court of Appeal. Today is a really a sad day because, yes, because it's a sad day. If you even look, they don't even have an inventory when they arrested the people to show that the gun, the pipes they are talking about were the people who had it. So I think that they are in good spirit, and we'll see what we'll do.
Thank you very much.
So yours is, you have the only female among
So ACP Benjamin Agojo, who is very excited that
Jehovah is your name. Jehovah is your name. Jehovah is your name. Mighty warrior, strong in battle. Jehovah is your name.
The acquittal comes in.
Yeah, it is joy. We give glory to God. He alone has made it. You heard the judgment, and you saw all the rebuttals. I don't need to talk again. They knew it was falsehood, but they continued to perpetuate it and push it hard. It didn't work. Our God doesn't fail. Now you want to ask what action next. Don't worry. I'll talk to my lawyers, and then we will talk to the media at the appropriate time. So thank you very much.
How does it feel to be free after 5 years?
Well, I've always been free within my heart. I've always been free because I knew how it was going to end. From the beginning, I knew that is how it's going to end today. I didn't know when it was going to end, but I knew how it was going to end. It's like watching a movie, a replay with somebody. You know the end, but the person doesn't know. So you people didn't know the end. I knew the end. I was too confident.
Have you been contemplating yourself or imagining yourself back in your police uniform?
Well, I don't want to comment about that. I don't want to comment.
So that is ACP Benjamin Agojo, who is very excited, being followed by the family. They are very excited. He is in white. Other family members are also in white. They are excited. And he says that they are going to consult their lawyers to know the next line of action to take. In fact, it's been a very happy moment, and exactly. So you see powder being poured on them as a sign of victory. ACP Benjamin Agojo. So I am here with Kenneth Jesse, my colleague. We've been in court. It's been a marathon in court from one case to the other, but this seems to be the very tough one with a lot of people following the case. Kenneth, so you've heard the counsel for ACP Benjamin Agojo, and then the other people that have also been convicted. What do you make of it?
The counsel for the acquitted ACP says that he's going to sue the state. I wanted to find out from you how much he's going to sue the state for, but then it appears that he and his client are going to discuss that. And then the counsel for the others who have been convicted say that they will send the case to the Supreme Court for possible redress to see whether they can possibly win an appeal of sort. You know, they've been sentenced to death by hanging. I mean, that is the outcome for, trying to, plot a coup in Ghana. So overall, it's been a very long day. We've been here for so many hours. And finally, after so many years, judgment has been passed. Although those who have been convicted are not happy with the sentencing, obviously. And then they've mentioned that they are going to appeal and see how it goes. But for ACP, it's all joy with him, the family, everybody. They are congratulating him that, you know, he's fought a good battle. And
okay, so for now, what we can say is that those that have been convicted, they've been convicted by hanging, and so it's been set right by the lawyers that are here. And you saw earlier in our shot in the interview we had with ACP Benjamin Agojo that so in your shot is a bus that is carrying the convicted people that have been convicted now. So the vehicle will drive them off. The vehicle is driving them off from the court premises here, and they have been convicted by hanging, and that is the fate that lies on their head. And it's really, it should be really a difficult moment for them, because the prosecution actually proved 8 cases in court that these people were involved and they were planning to plot a coup, and that is really a treasonable offense. Right. So Kenneth,
Richard, you have been in court for a while now. When they say they have been convicted by hanging, does it mean that they are indeed going to be hanged?
Well, so now there have been some amendment, but we are not really clear whether they are actually going to be hanged. You know, we had conversations about the death penalty that has been struck out and all of that. So when they say hanging, we need to get further and better particulars about this one, whether actually they are going to be hanged. And so that is really the situation now.
So as you can see in your shot now, that's the bus that is taking them away, the convicted people who are being taken away by the police. Heavy security presence here. Heavy security presence here. They are being whisked away, and that's the police armored vehicle as well.
But one thing that is also prominent in this is that those that have been convicted, their lawyers are saying that the matter is not going to be to end here. They are taking the case up to the Supreme Court, the apex court, for interpretation and for an appeal before the Supreme Court. But the 3 others who were acquitted and discharged, the court, their lawyers have indicated that they are going to sue for malicious prosecution and for compensation, because they knew that what they were doing was not right and they went ahead to do what they did. Right. And so that is what has been happening here. In fact, at this very moment, usually this place would have been very quiet, but the fact that the judgment delivery has traveled well over 4 hours, and the courts are even closing, but the judgment was being delivered. It tells you how important, it tells you how crucial this matter is, and for everybody to wait like this, for people to be in here, their family members and the other well-wishers, sympathizers and all of that, they came. Some came disappointed because their people have been convicted, but there are others, you saw the powder being poured on them, and it indicates that they are victorious in the move. And you heard ACP Benjamin Agojo indicating that right from the outset he knew that he was free, and he couldn't have been freer, because all along he knew in his heart that whatever charges that were trumped against him, these were frivolous charges, vexatious charges, and he was going to go free. And so today is just a vindication of what he has believed in, and actually the judge has really vindicated his position.
Richard, this appears to be an unprecedented judgment, but in the Fourth Republic, have we ever seen a case like this where people have been convicted of trying to oust a government and then being sentenced by hanging?
Well, so if I can cast my mind back, I've been going through, but this seems to stand out. Yes, there have been people that have been charged with those offenses, but for this one, that it's come before the court, and the court has gone through the trial proceedings and then has actually convicted them by hanging. It's one of a kind that I am seeing.
Right. Okay. So these are live scenes happening at the Law Court Complex in Accra, where the alleged coup plotters, we have had 3 of them acquitted and discharged, and 6 of them have been sentenced to death by hanging. And those who have been sentenced to death by hanging, their lawyers say they're going to appeal the case, and possibly try to see if the sentencing can be reversed. But for the police officer and the 2 others who have been discharged, it's all joy for them, and they also intend suing the state. And so we have here the brother of the police officer who was acquitted.
He looks very much like him.
Yes, I remember seeing you earlier and asking you if that is you. I mean, your brother has been acquitted and discharged. How does it feel?
Very great. We knew from day one that this is how it was going to end. Only that we don't know the particular day that it will end. But we knew, because the state has no case to prove. Nothing to prove. You heard the judges today. There was nothing to prove. So we are glad and we give all the praise to God.
Right. I mean, in the family, were there a bit of some scare that possibly he could have, this verdict could have gone other way?
We knew our brother. He wasn't only a brother. He is a friend, a father, and everything to us. We knew him, and we know him, continue to know him. And we knew that the family has no doubt or doubt about his involvement. The family knew that he wasn't part of it, and that it was a frame-up.
Right. And how does the family feel about this judgment that has been delivered today?
The family is very great, very good, grateful to God, and we look forward to the future after talking to our lawyer and the necessary steps we'll take.
Are you going to have any party? I mean, any victory party?
Oh, we'll communicate that to you, if there will be.
All right, thank you. That's on the lighter note. Thank you very much. Right, Richard, you wanted to say something.
So, Kenneth, you see how excited the brother is. The entire family, they are very, very happy. The fact that a family member, a relative, a father, a breadwinner in the family is now free. In fact, that is not to say that he wasn't free, but now he's totally free. That is what it means when you say someone has been acquitted and discharged. In fact, he cannot be brought, this case cannot be brought before him, and then he would be charged again. And so that is what it really means. But it's really refreshing to see a lot of people that came here to lend their support to family members. It is not all of them that are excited, though. There are some that are going home depressed, unhappy, dissatisfied with how the situation turned out, because you know that apart from the 3 that were convicted, the 3 that were acquitted and discharged, there are 6 others that have also been convicted. And you saw earlier in our shots that the vehicle drove slowly through the gates of the court complex, and they are being whisked away. As to whether they are actually going to be hanged by the state, that is what we need to seek further and better particulars about this very thing. And so it's been great.
One of our colleagues asked him whether he's going to go back to the police force, and he said it's something that he's going to think about.
It is too early in the day for him to be answering such questions, and I think that he was quick about that, saying that, well, he will consult his lawyers, but it is too early. He wouldn't want to comment about that. And I think that he was right, because at the spur of the moment, when you are in some kind of ecstasy, a lot of things, so if he doesn't take care, he might be overtaken by events, emotions, and other things in order to spew words that may also land him in trouble. And so I feel that he was right, very right within his rights.
Right. We haven't cited the 2 others who were acquitted and discharged alongside him. He's the only person that we've cited here. But that's the good news that's coming out, that ACP, Agbojo, and 2 others have been acquitted and discharged of alleged coup to oust the government. So you can see him in your shot now, and this is the court complex here in Accra, where there are mixed emotions. Those that are happy because their family members, their friends, their relatives have been acquitted and discharged, and then there are those that are also not happy because their family members have been convicted and sentenced to death by hanging.
you have been watching live pictures from the court complex where a decision has been made by the court regarding the charge of treason that was leveled against some 10 individuals, including Dr. Benjamin, ACP Dr. Benjamin Agbozo, and of course 8 others. Now let me run by you the decision of the court. Now this particular matter, the charges dates back to April 24, 2021. Involved Dr. Frederick Yao Mark-Palm, the late Chief Executive Officer of the Citadel Hospital, ACP Dr. Agbojo, and 8 others. The accused faced various charges, including conspiracy to high treason, abetment to high treason, and high treason. Among the accused were Dr. Mark-Palm, Dunya Kafui Elias Exor Bright, Alan Debra Ofosu, Johannes Zekpe, Warrant Officer Class 2, Esther Son Dekuwin, Corporal Said Abubakar, Lance Corporal Alice Solomon, and Corporal Sylvester Akapewom. Now, the decision of the court acquitted and discharged Dr. Benjamin Agbojo and 2 others. Now, what we are waiting to hear is to establish the identities of the 6 other people who have been sentenced to death by hanging. That is the decision of the court. And earlier, you heard the defense team led by Martin Kpebu and, of course, Victor Kojoga Adawudu indicates that they will appeal against the decision of the court to sentence the 6 other individuals to death by hanging. And in the few minutes to come, we will establish the identity of the 6 individuals who have been sentenced to death by hanging, and of course, the other persons, together with ACP Benjamin Agbojo, who have been acquitted and discharged. Let me wrap the political issue with Dr. Kwesi Amache Boateng, and my apologies for holding you on there. As we wrap up, what is your final, commentary on what we are likely to experience on Saturday? Let me also quick to ask you whether you've been impressed with the fact that this is perhaps the first time in the history of this parliamentary election that we have minimal reports of imposition of candidates on constituencies. Mr. Machi, what do you make of it as we wrap up? All right, I don't think we have Dr. Amache Boateng on the Zoom. So we'll wrap it up here. That's it on the political front, but I'm sure that in the days to come, tomorrow, Thursday, and of course Friday, we'll have more discussion on this matter. But let me deal with this matter quickly, and then we'll take a break and then come back to deal with a health issue here in the studio. This is The Pulse here on Joy News. We'll be right back. You're welcome back to The Pulse. Now, next week, Ghana will join the rest of the world to mark International Neglected Tropical Diseases Day. That will leave the country with just 6 years to achieve its target of ending NTDs by the year 2030. NTDs include elephantiasis, Buruli ulcer, which both have become devastating social and economic consequences for communities, families, and the nation as a whole. This year, the observation will be under the theme 2023, the year to shine a spotlight on NTDs and the suffering they cause, and to call for comprehensive and universal care for those affected by them. It's our collective responsibility to confront inequalities and put an end to these diseases that are entirely preventable. This afternoon, we brought up to the day by finding out what we all can do in helping end NTDs in Ghana. In the studio with us is Dr. Joseph Opari, Programs Manager for NTDs at the Ghana Health Service. Doctor, you're welcome.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so very much. And
so,
it's good to come back.
Great. So, when we talk about NTDs, first, let's talk about the spread.
Okay.
We've spoken about elephantiasis and Buruli ulcer. And I know over the years from the Rawlings' time, there's been consistent fight against Buruli ulcer. Are we winning it?
Yeah, somehow we are winning it. We are winning that. But I must also go back and say that neglected tropical diseases are a group of 20 preventable and treatable diseases. These diseases are found in certain parts of Ghana. They are caused by various pathogens, I should put it that way. And we have 20 of them, but in Ghana we have 14. 14 so far have been identified. We know where these cases are.
14 tropical diseases.
It's neglected. Tropical diseases. Right.
All from the ones I mentioned.
Yeah, borrelial ulcer is one of them.
Elephantiasis and tuberculosis.
Exactly.
So elephantiasis can be scary.
Exactly, it should be. And these diseases disfigure. Okay, if you have legs so big, there's little you could do, right? And that may make you disabled. And if you're not able to do work as expected, definitely you wouldn't have the funds, salaries to take care of your family. Eventually, these conditions may lead to poverty. There's also stigmatization over here. But the good news is that these diseases are preventable. You did mention borrelial ulcer, elephantiasis, lymphatic onchocerciasis. We have soil-transmitted helminths. We have schistosomiasis. We have leprosy. We have yaws. We have cutaneous leishmaniasis. We have rabies, and we have sleeping sickness. Right. That is it.
So why do we call them neglected? Is it a case that we have decided and won't focus any attention on it?
It's one of them. There's low risk perception. It's like somebody with big legs and elephantiasis. Somebody may think that, no, I cannot get this condition. And also on the global health agenda, sometimes we hardly talk about neglected tropical diseases. These conditions also do affect the poor, people in the poorer communities, where sanitation water is scarce. See? So, and most of the time, these people with these conditions hardly come out. Okay, they
talk about it.
Yeah, talk about it, and also come out to, the crowd. Let me put it that way.
And why is it so? Is it because of stigmatization or what? Because I spoke earlier about elephantiasis.
Exactly.
If you are infected by it, it will be difficult for you to be associated with people.
Yeah, and that's what we see on the screen. It's quite devastating. But the good news is that we can prevent all these conditions. That is the good news. We can do that through mass drug administration, especially with the preventive chemotherapy in neglected tropical diseases. And these are onchocerciasis, lymphatic filariasis, schistosomiasis. We have soil-transmitted helminths. We have trachoma. Trachoma is a thing of the past now. And we have another group that is preventive case management, neglected tropical diseases. Have the leprosy, borrelial ulcer, yaws, and so forth. Okay, for these ones, you have to go and look for the cases and treat them. But the other ones, you go into the community.
You are able to identify.
You are able to identify. Okay, map them. Then the entire community will be treated, whether they have the condition or not. So these ones, you can prevent them.
So earlier you spoke about some of the causes that people who live in unhygienic areas
or sanitary conditions.
Exactly, and these are mostly people who are poor, the poorest of the poor, and they are infected by things that are sometimes hard to treat but preventable. So where are they most prevalent?
Well, in Ghana we have, if you take onchocerciasis, we have about 140 districts currently endemic for onchocerciasis. If it's about lymphatic filariasis, we have 116. But the good news is that we've been able to fight that, okay, to only 7. So when we do mass drug administration against lymphatic filariasis, we are dealing with 7 endemic communities. Schistosomiasis is found almost everywhere in Ghana, right? And soil-transmitted helminths also the same, right? Leprosy, we are looking at 195 endemic districts. Borrelial ulcer, we are looking at 98. Cutaneous leishmaniasis, we are looking at 2 regions.
Really, it's still an issue.
It's still
after
an
all
issue.
These years.
Yes, but the good thing is that when it comes to diagnosis, we are better off now, okay, compared to what happened some years ago. And treatment is also good. Yeah, so that's why for this day that we are celebrating, World NTD Day, we want to say that these conditions are treatable and preventable. So we want everybody in Ghana to know that we have neglected tropical diseases in Ghana, 14 of them. So we don't have to keep quiet. And these cases could be prevented. That's why we give the free mass, we do free mass drug administration on some of the conditions. We also want to say that neglected tropical diseases have impact among the individuals and also the community. When you are poor, what can you do? When you are devastated by these conditions, what so much can you do? When you are disfigured, what can you do? And there is, NTDs also have impact on stigmatization. That's the crucial thing. It could lead to mental distress and all that.
So what, from the Ghana Health Service perspective, what is the strategy to tackle it?
Yes. So with the preventive chemotherapy and neglected tropical diseases, as I mentioned earlier, onchocerciasis, lymphatic filariasis, schistosomiasis, the worms, okay, trachoma. It's all about mass drug administration. So we do mapping in the communities. Okay, as I said, like onchocerciasis, you have 140 endemic districts. So we do mapping, locate where these conditions are, and we treat the entire communities.
Is it an ongoing exercise?
It's an ongoing exercise, and as I speak now, there is an exercise on that when on onchocerciasis is being treated in about 100 and about 77 endemic districts in Ghana as we speak.
And how is it going in terms of progress? Is it encouraging?
So much. So far, it has been good. It has been good. Yeah, and we hope it will be better next time.
So for people who are affected, treatment is free. Is that the case?
That is it. Mm-hmm. Okay, and that is what we are trying to achieve so much. If you have lymphatic filariasis, all right, elephantiasis, right, we are supposed to be at the health facilities. We teach you how to manage that. Okay, if you have onchocerciasis, that one may lead to blindness. If you have also lymphatic filariasis, you may end up with a condition called hydrocele, right? And that one, we always look for funding to do free surgeries for the affected ones and the other conditions. So prevention is free. We have medication for prevention. Okay, but when you're affected by the condition, that is where sometimes the problem is.
So in case of the prevention,
yeah,
the free aspect of it, is it by the program or let's say it's captured under the health insurance?
Yeah, it's by the government.
Okay.
Government's intervention. Okay. And when you are affected by the condition, that is where now we are trying to push it into the health insurance scheme. So that all people affected by neglected tropical diseases, they go to the health facilities and they are treated free of charge. So this is what we are pushing now. But if it's about prevention, we give free medication for that. So you don't have to get sick. That is the caveat. Because the preventive mechanisms are there. Then also back to your question, what we are doing. There's an aspect we call morbidity management, disability prevention, especially when it comes to lymphatic filariasis. So for that one, those affected, we manage them. We teach them how to wash their wounds. We organize free surgeries and so forth. Then of course, we do health education about these conditions, like what we are doing now.
So the target is what? To do outright elimination or bring it to the barest minimum by 2030?
We are heading towards elimination.
Are you on course?
We are on course. You are aware that guinea worm, guinea worm is also a tropical disease. It's no more, right from 2015. Okay, trachoma, right from 2018, is no more. Sleeping sickness, by the grace of God, and also with your support and the government, we don't have it now. It has been eliminated as a disease of public health problem, right this year, 2023, and last year, 2023. So we are on course. When it comes to onchocerciasis, the prevalence, the prevalence of the infection has gone so low now. Okay, we've tackled it almost 95%, to a level of about 95%. When it comes to lymphatic filariasis, as I said, 116 districts were endemic, but as at now, we have only 7 of them to tackle.
That's encouraging.
So we
actually asked about the progress because of the factors that contribute to the rise in some of these ailments, including poor water and poor environment. I mean, water supply in the country has become a challenge. Even here in the capital, I mean, they are virtually rationing it. Now, if you go to some of the catchment areas that you spoke of, the legal money has also contributed to make the water even more poorer.
Exactly.
Exactly. So when I asked about the program, I was looking at, as we are moving on, the factors is getting even poorer. So in terms of progress, are we likely to be the target?
Not poorer pace.
Because of the current situation that we have.
Things will get better. Like cast your minds back so many years ago when it was about water supply. Is it not better now?
Exactly.
Yeah. So if we have that, of course, we can get rid of trachoma, and we don't have trachoma now. Sanitation, on and off, but it's getting better than before, right? And so forth.
What about the illegal mining contribution to?
That one, when you have environmental changes, okay, you know, really also, okay, in the wet places and where there has been changes in the environment, that could facilitate that, okay? But there hasn't been any kind of link. Mode of transmission is a bit vague now, but it's kind of associated with that.
Right. So, Doctor, what do you expect the public to do?
All right. So now we want to let everybody know in Ghana and beyond that, well, in Ghana we have neglected tropical diseases still persist. We have 14, right? And we have free medication for that. So everybody should get himself or herself involved in the mass drug administration whenever it happens, and also repair the disease condition. Onchocerciasis, as I said, currently is ongoing in mass drug administration. Lymphatic filariasis will come off very soon. School deworming exercise is also another point, right, and so forth. But the other thing is that if you have the condition also, do not sit in your house alone. Okay?
Very important.
Get closer to any health facility and you could be assisted. Then again, most importantly, all hands should be on deck. Commitment from each and every person into the program. Because if you are not able to do that, these conditions will persist and all the achievements made so far may not help. Things may reverse.
And then by 2030, the expectation is that we'll clap our hands and say that we've eradicated all of this.
We should clap our hands. The global goals should be achieved. And what are these goals? Number one, we expect that all those that we are giving mass drug administration should be reduced by 90%, meaning that the prevalence of these conditions should go down so much, right? Also, when it comes to disability, adjusted life years, 77, there should be about 75% reduction when it comes to neglected tropical diseases. You see? So the quota in neglected tropical diseases should go down, down, down. In other words, people should be healthier. Okay? Then we are looking at eradicating at least 2 of these conditions by the year 2030.
And what are those?
Guinea worm is a big candidate.
Yeah.
And maybe yours, because it's very simple to get rid of yours, right? Then by 2030, we expect that about 100 countries should have eradicated one, okay, neglected tropical disease.
And I guess we are doing it in partnership with your international partners.
Exactly.
And I believe that the funding is coming as it should.
Well, they are supporting, but we need more.
We need more.
We need more. There should be an internal kind of.
What about the commitment from the government of Ghana?
It's not bad. At least we get our salaries paid. We have a place to work, okay, and so forth. Encouragement, and they are also helping us get more partners, right? So we're also on course, but we need more.
So the message this afternoon really is that if you have the condition, there's no need to stay home.
Exactly.
And be shy about it.
Go to the health
because there's
facility.
treatment for you.
Yes. Okay, we can prevent it. We can prevent the condition. So get closer to a health facility. If you have the condition, you'll be managed. But when it comes to mass drug administration, get yourself involved in that. There should be commitment from each and every person so that we get more funding to the program, so that by 2030, we should see most of these conditions eliminated in Ghana.
All right. Dr. Pai, thank you very much for coming through.
Yeah, but one last thing.
Please
We are kind of celebrating World Neglected Tropical Disease Day to create this awareness, right? And this year, we want to move away from Accra a little bit. We've been staying in Accra for long.
So where are you going?
So we are doing it at Adesu.
In the Eastern region.
Grand Derby at Adesu, where we shall call health workers, community members, everybody who matter, okay, to come and listen to issues on neglected tropical diseases, create awareness, get more support from partners so that we could eliminate this condition. So come Monday, all of us are going to Adesu for that function.
And Adesu is in the Eastern region.
In the Eastern region. That is a West Upper Akim district. Yeah, but the actual day for the celebration worldwide is on the 30th
of this month.
But ours will be a day earlier.
So on the 30th, we'll draw more attention to...
Draw more attention.
Yeah.
Even not on the 30th, start from now.
Start from now.
As we are doing. Yeah. Let people know.
But the Ghana Awareness Creation event is on Monday at the Nation.
It's on Monday. That's where we are going to have the Durbar. All right. So throughout this week, we are doing that. And the theme is very simple. We are saying that we should unite. Okay, all hands on deck. We need partners. We need other people so that we can get rid of this condition. And we should act effectively. See, there should be kind of commitment from each person, country commitment, local commitment in terms of technology. And we should be able to eliminate this condition. What does it mean? The achievements we've made so far, we have to talk about them. Like, as I said, guinea worm is no more, sleeping sickness is no more. And we also have trachoma. We have to talk about that so that people will be encouraged to support us more, get rid of these conditions in Ghana.
Target is 2020, and we'll do our bit to also help you, to help the team achieve this target of complete elimination.
We should. Exactly. We should, because it's possible.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Opare, once again for coming. And on Monday, we'll meet you at Adeso for the national event.
Thank you so very much.
All right. So I've been speaking to Dr. Opare, and the issue is about the prevention of neglected tropical diseases. The target is by 2030. All of this will be out of the way. You're still watching The Pulse here on Joy News. Before we go, it is now official. Government is now pushing for investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death of former President Professor John Ivasita Mills. Professor Mills became the country's first president to die whilst in office. And the 10th anniversary is coming up pretty soon. His death has been a source of controversy in political circles. But today, the Chieftaincy Minister, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, elevated the matter. He says a coroner's inquest will help lay the controversy to rest.
As the Minister for Chieftaincy, holding firm our tradition and custom and religion, faith, and as to how we die, where we go, and the reverend we give to her, I will support a coroner's inquest. I will support a coroner's inquest for the records to be set straight and for us to have as a guide as to how we handle such incidents if it ever occurs. And so everybody must calm down. We're a government. The family has raised it, and the president said it's in order. It's for public record. So why not? Nobody should be scared of anything. It is even a coroner's inquest is not a trial anyway. I mean, people I think they're scared that somebody will be tried. It's not a trial. This is not court matter. It's record. It's for us to know how the system works. We must have, as a nation, have a system where, especially a certain president passes away, what do we do? What are the basis, the process 1, 2, 3, and ends where? When there's inconsistency of somebody saying he died in my arms, somebody say, oh, he raised his hand, to you I commit myself. Huh? A dead person, why did they raise their hands where? So there's a lot of inconsistencies. And when somebody said they don't know whatever, and their siblings don't come in. This is a family matter. Our tradition is the Bouchampay, the Domina family have raised it, and as a minister, I am tended to side with them. I believe that there must be clarity in this matter. Doesn't matter how long it takes. People say it's 12 years. No, you don't forget about 12 years. You don't forget about even 30 years. We must learn lessons. And this is the problem. If we are not careful in Ghana, we don't learn lessons, we commit the same mistakes. And we don't progress as a nation.
And that's the position by the government through the Chieftaincy Ministry, read by Stephen Asamoah Boateng. We're taking a break. We'll be back.
The system is mount here, and you, the pedestrians, to cross. You just come near there.